Teaching an online course means that your learners won't be in the same physical space. They may not even be in the same time zone. So how do you encourage your learners to connect, share, and learn together? Let's take a look at some of the common activities that can get students working together online, namely discussion forums, live sessions, and group work activities. Firstly, discussion forums. Discussion forums are a great way for learners to share their experiences, their perspectives, their opinions, and for academics to demonstrate their teaching presence. They're especially good for learners based around the globe, as they can participate at any time to suit them at any time of the day. Here are a few tips for encouraging participation in discussion forums. Firstly, set clear ground rules and expectations that encourage meaningful discussion rather than just commenting on each other's posts. Consider a suggested minimum word count for posts and encourage students to provide evidence for any statistics or any references to influencers on their posts, just as they would in an academic work. Set a time limit. A week-long discussion allows enough time for learners to contribute and to respond to the posts of others as others post in their own time zones. Pose an open-ended discussion topic or question, something that links to the module content and ideally the assignment, to offer the learners a scaffolding opportunity. Be the first to post. Often being the first person to participate can be quite daunting. So it may help to provide an initial response or something for people to look at and respond to encourage replies. This is referred to as seeding the discussion. Once the discussion is kicked off, check in regularly to share your thoughts, encourage participation, and to reward learners for their contributions. Using learners' names is a great way to offer recognition and reward for participation and to demonstrate your teaching presence. As the discussion draws to its conclusion, provide a summary for the key topics and issues raised and areas for further consideration, and link to the module content to help frame the discussion. Live sessions are a great opportunity for you to connect and interact with your students at the same time and in the same virtual digital space. But how can you plan your live sessions for the greatest engagement between learners? Firstly, ask what days and times will suit learners best. To maximize attendance, and share an announcement or an email to all the students to remind them of the day and time that it's planned for. Plan activities in advance for learners to engage in, and to avoid the session becoming a one-way transmission. Encourage learners to work in groups to discuss the content and share perspectives and challenges. More advanced features for breakout rooms and groups are available to use when you feel more comfortable with the technology available. Make use of the polling and voting features to make the session interactive, just as you would in the classroom. Pause regularly to ask questions, to check understanding, or to invite requests for further clarification. A good benefit of online live sessions is that students can usually pose questions anonymously using a private chat function, so that's a great advantage for students who may be nervous or self-conscious about asking questions about content. Use your webcam to support greater presence and encourage students to do so also. But be mindful that not all learners will have access to a webcam. Some may feel uncomfortable with being on camera, and in the current situation, some might find it hard to find a comfortable space to participate in webcams where they feel happy with what background is being shown. So don't push too hard on this point at this moment in time. And finally, given the current situation, an increase for demand in bandwidth around the world, if the internet connection is poor for you or for your learners, you might need to request that students turn off their video, off their webcams, and you may need to come off your webcam as well to help stabilize the connection. In terms of group work, you might like to simulate some of your campus group activities in the online space, such as group research projects, presentations, and portfolio-based group work. And group work's a great way for students to build a sense of connection, community, and belonging amongst the cohort, and to support social learning. Group work can also be really challenging for online students, especially across different time zones and where the guidance around the group work is unclear. You will also need to plan longer for students to complete group work online than in the classroom. A relatively simple classroom group activity of 1 hour, for example, may take as much as a week to achieve online, especially across different time zones. But let's take a look at some tips for planning group work to maximize engagement across learners. Firstly, again, just like discussion forums, set clear ground rules and expectations for how you expect learners to work together, including how they should communicate and organize themselves, how they can divide up the task fairly, and how the final work should be submitted for grading. You can also share some advice on what options are available to groups in the event that something goes wrong, such as if someone becomes ill or unexpectedly unavailable to take part. Make it count towards the final grade for the course. Group work takes a lot of time and effort on behalf of your learners, and they're much more likely to be positive about it and engage in it if they will receive a portion of their final grade for taking part. Be very clear about how the group work will be graded and whether the group will have any say in how grades are awarded. Thirdly, provide clear timescales to keep groups on track. Particularly if this is a module or course-long group activity, such as working on the final summative assessment together from day one. Provide a schedule of activities, checkpoints and deadlines for the groups to use together to make sure they're progressing as they should. And finally, check in with groups regularly. Use the discussion forums, live sessions and messaging tools you have at your disposal. This will help you to understand how well groups are working together, to identify any challenges they may be facing, and to flag any issues as early as possible. You could also use your live sessions for groups to report back on their progress to the larger cohort and for you to provide some feedback on progress. Finally, consider carefully the scale of your engagement activities based on your student numbers and your available resources to support them. For larger classes, discussion forums and live sessions will provide efficient engagement opportunities, and activities that require more instructor support or time may not be feasible. For example, those opportunities to provide feedback within the large sessions based on the groups presenting their progress to the larger cohort. And as such, you may need to adopt more self-managing approaches in these cases. And this is where careful planning and guidance will be vital for the learners to succeed.